Hello, class. So many people have objected to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, or the account of it. However, most people have not thought it through, or they just don't have the facts. I'm convinced that once somebody thoroughly examines the evidence for the resurrection, that they'll understand that Christians, they don't rely on blind faith, but they actually have a solid foundation of faith that surpasses any other religion in the world. In this video, we'll share with you some of that information along with some of the objections to that resurrection account. Let me first start by quoting Dr. Simon Greenleaf, who was one of the greatest law professors of U.S. history from Harvard University. Mr. Greenleaf said, according to the laws of legal evidence used in the courts of law, there's more evidence for the historical fact of the resurrection of Jesus Christ than for just about any other event in history. That means that if we were to use the same legal principles and applications that we use today in order to determine if something's true, the resurrection account would pass with flying colors. That fact alone should get people's attention. Now, there are 5 things that most scholars agree on. Both secular and non-secular scholars, they agree on these 5 things about the resurrection account. 1, Jesus Christ was crucified. 2, Jesus was buried in a tomb. 3, the tomb was empty on the 3rd day. 4, a large amount of people saw Jesus alive after his death, over 500 in fact. And 5, followers of Jesus actually believed with all their heart that Jesus was raised from the dead. Now, these are all the facts that scholars agree on. All right? It's the circumstances surrounding those facts that they debate about, and several theories have been suggested as to the explanation to these facts. However, those theories are not solid and have many holes, which means right now the best explanation for those facts is that Jesus Christ actually rose from the dead. Here's a few of those theories. I will not cover all the facts and the evidence, but we'll just give you a quick summary of just a few of those theories that are unlikely. One is called the swoon theory. They think that Jesus didn't actually die. However, if you study the way Romans executed Jesus on the cross, you would easily come to the conclusion that this is unlikely. They were trained killers. The Roman soldiers were experts at executing, and they would have known and been experienced at determining whether someone was dead or not. So it's very unlikely that they would have made that mistake. Believe me, Jesus was dead. One more piece of evidence for that is just the dramatic change in the believers and the followers of Jesus. If you think about it, the disciples, when Jesus was being crucified, they hid and they ran, with the exception of John, and they hid in the hills. So they went from hiding in the hills and denying Jesus to confidently standing up for Jesus as the Messiah to the point of death. Now, people all the time die for stuff they believe, but people don't die for a lie. So, if that theory is true, that means that the disciples would have died for something they knew wasn't true, which is very unlikely. They especially wouldn't die for a Messiah that was not dead and all bruised up and beat up and didn't actually rise from the dead. So it doesn't make quite sense. Second, that the body was possibly stolen. The Roman guards on the tomb were given the job to guard this tomb. Since there had been rumors that Jesus' body might be stolen, the Roman guards were ready, and they were ready for that challenge. And it's interesting to know, in Roman society, if the prisoner of the guard escaped, the guard would then take the prisoner's place in punishment. Therefore, the Roman guards had a strong motivation to avoid letting anyone take the body of Jesus. So this theory is very unlikely as well. And then third is there was mass hallucinations. That's how we explain the after-death appearances. However, one thing that we know about hallucinations these days that most scholars and scientists could agree on through our advances in information, knowledge, and technology is that hallucinations are unique to each individual. It's absolutely unlikely that 500 people all experienced the same hallucination, so that is very unlikely as well. Now, the information I shared with you, it's just a few pieces of evidence and information that you probably didn't have to support the resurrection of Jesus Christ. There's an entire book, and I hope that you investigate this further so that you come to the same conclusion as me, that there is no doubt that the best explanation for the facts I mentioned above is that Jesus Christ actually rose from the dead. And if that is true, my friend, then that should change everything. Thank you.